No,
No?
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Yeah.
We are live, Elena.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened anytime the seatbelt light is on.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Elena. So excited to see everyone. Well, I don't see you, but I feel you're there. A huge, tremendous, enormous welcome to the Freelance Business Month. I am beyond honored to kick off this fourth edition of Freelance Business Month, an event that celebrates the spirit of innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship in the field of freelancing. This event became home for many professionals in our industry, from freelancers and solopreneurs to researchers, public institutions, freelance communities, companies, and individuals that involved in supporting freelancers, from trainers to coaches to companies that are providing and offering services and tools to freelancers. Anyone who is in the freelance economy is welcome to the Freelance Business Month. It's a pleasure to connect with so many talented individuals gathered online for entire month to explore the limitless opportunities that the freelance business world has to offer. This opening session is dedicated to the future of freelance. We have several industry thought leaders sharing with us what they think or how they think future would look like, and plus we will have a secret guest at the end of the session, so stay tuned. Freelancing has come a long way. What once was unconventional career choice now became a thriving and dynamic industry, all thanks to the dedication, skills, and vision of professionals like you. Today, we celebrate your journey, your contribution, and the incredible impact you've made on a global business landscape. This month-long event is not just a series of workshops and sessions, it's a celebration of freelance spirit. It's a tribute to thousands of individuals who have chosen the less traveled path, dared to dream big, and worked independently, shaping the freelance economy into what it is today. During Freelance Business Month, we have curated a fantastic lineup of sessions and speakers who will share their experiences, insights, and expertise. You'll have the opportunity to learn from the best in the field, gain invaluable knowledge, and connect with fellow freelancers and business leaders who are sharing your passion. As we navigate a dynamic landscape of freelancing, it's crucial to recognize that each one of you plays a pivotal role in driving innovation, instigating change, and shaping the future of work. Your adaptability, entrepreneurial spirit, and unwavering commitment to excellence are the driving forces behind this thriving industry. We also understand that freelancers are often face challenges and uncertainties. Freelance Business Month is not only about celebrating success, it's about addressing these challenges as well. We aim to facilitate discussions and roundtables with industry leaders who are actively shaping the freelance economy with the goal of amplifying the voice of freelancers in their work. Throughout this month, I strongly encourage you to embrace the spirit of collaboration. Connect with your peers, get to know each other, try to figure out how you can fit each other in the business that you're running. Together, we can foster a supportive and vibrant freelance community that empowers each member to realize their full potential. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for being part of this event. Your participation in the Freelance Business Month is a testament to your dedication to personal and professional growth. I urge you to seize every opportunity this event provides, and may this month inspire you to reach new heights in your freelance journey. As my favorite coach, Jay Alderton, wisely says, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. So don't merely spend your time listening to speakers or attending sessions. Apply the knowledge that you have gained. Test the strategies, test the tips that you have heard in order to move your business to the next level. On that note, the most active participant of the Freelance Business Month will receive freelance Oscars that we will celebrate at the end of the month. We will measure your session participation and connections that you've made on the event platform. And the winner will receive 2 fantastic books and my favorites. The Human Cloud by Matt Matola, who is speaking later today and tomorrow as well. Don't miss his session. And The Freelance Way by Robert Vlach, who is one of the best, probably the best business consultant that I know. This is the Bible for any questions related to freelance business, from finances to negotiations and many more. So 2 hugely impressive books, cost lots of money. So be active. I'd like to extend my thanks to all the speakers who generously dedicated their time to join us this month. Them sharing their expertise is absolutely incredible. You will be able to learn new things every single day. A special shout out goes to our event partners and sponsors who recognize the value in investing in the education for freelancers and supporting the freelance business community. Our celebration continues tonight at the online networking event, which happens at 6 p.m. Central European Time or noon Eastern Standard Time. Come join us for a networking drink. We'll talk about business and things that we're doing currently and how the year has been. I would be glad to see as many of you there. Now, let me take a few moments and explain the program of this year. Those who are familiar with Freelance Business Month knows that each month contains several programs, and this year they are as follows. Our first week will be dedicated to freelance as the future of work. We'll showcase how organizations are harnessing the power of freelancers and scaling their businesses with their help. Thought leaders will join us to explore what makes a freelance platform successful and beneficial for freelancers. We'll also discuss the essential skills needed for future success and address the critical aspects of well-being in the evolving world of work. Moving to the second week, we'll focus on starting a freelance business. Across 11 sessions, we'll cover everything from fundamentals of your freelance business core, leveraging freelance communities to your benefit, fighting imposter syndrome and turning it into superpowers, crafting efficient marketing strategies, mastering the art of sales, creating winning LinkedIn profiles, enhancing your discoverability on Google, navigating challenging conversation with finesse, and many more. Exciting topics. Check out the program of the second week as well. Now, moving to the third week marks our celebration of European Freelance Week. Our objective is to shine a spotlight on the immense value freelancers bring to the global economy and society. With that week, we aim to foster the exchange of ideas, experiences, and skills to drive political and structural change. All this aligning with the principle of European Freelancer Week Manifesto. If you are not familiar with the manifesto, I invite you to watch this short video, which outlines 6 areas and principles where we would like to see improvements for freelancers. During the 3rd week, we'll explore the freelance ecosystem. We'll dive into freelance economy policies and regulations a little bit, and we will learn about successful freelance programs worldwide. We will also discover how organizations are safeguarding freelancers' rights and freedoms, and we will examine the economic benefits of freelancing, including its role in creating a more inclusive society. Additionally, we'll engage in discussions about artificial intelligence, of course, and how to harness it to our advantage. This 3rd week will also mark the celebration of the International Freelancer Day, with events taking place in 20 locations globally, generously sponsored and facilitated by Fiverr and WeWork. If you are in any of these locations, here, we invite you to join us by registering for this event on our website or event platform. The week following will be dedicated to growing your freelance business. We'll explore subjects such as design thinking, innovation, strategies to overcome growth obstacles. We'll do reflection on our brand and positioning. We'll discuss what to do when you have achieved the growth, what's next. Our journey will continue with an in-depth focus on marketing and sales, as well as critical aspects of finances and investments. Pretty interesting subjects, I have to say. We will conclude this remarkable month with several sessions. One of each would be a review of tech solutions available for freelancers, where you will have an opportunity to cast your vote for your favorite product. Don't miss that. It's on the 30th of October. And the closing session of the month will be dedicated to sharing insights from our ongoing survey, where we're collecting valuable data on how freelancers are finding customers. If you haven't shared your responses with us yet, please scan this QR code, and just 2 minutes and you will leave us your answers. I would hugely appreciate if you do that. As we commence this month with the future tag in it, allow me a few moments to share the journey of the freelance business community and our vision for the future. Since 2018, the freelance business community has evolved from a local Belgium-based community to a global force with representatives from over 60 countries. More than 3,500 freelancers have benefited from our events and masterclasses, and we're committed to maintain our position as the go-to organization for networking and educational opportunities for freelancers around the world. Our mission is to connect stakeholders in the freelance economy and serve as the central hub for anyone involved in this thriving industry. We take immense pride in the fact that Freelance Business Community and Freelance Business Month provide a unique platform where freelance ecosystem thought leaders, tech solution providers, enterprises, policymakers, research institutions, and freelancers from around the world come together for a month of valuable exchange. This is truly an extraordinary achievement. We've also released 2 comprehensive books, the Freelance Business Book and 300 Freelance Business Tips. You can find them here. If you haven't seen them yet, go on the website and download them. It's a crowdsourced effort from all the experts that we've seen and heard on our stages, sharing their best practices and their expertise so that you can benefit from this for free. Please do use this material to your advantage. This year, we have taken a global research initiative collaborating with 13 other communities. This effort aims to collect data about where freelancers finding work. I invite each and every one of you to participate if you haven't yet. Just scan this code, spend 2 minutes, and leave us your answers. The survey will close on 10th of October, and we will present this study at the end of the month. The closing session on 31st of October will be dedicated to this exact report. Now, as we delve deeper in the theme of future of work, I have invited several esteemed guests to the studio. They will shed light on what we should know, what we should expect, and what we should be aware of when we envision freelance as the future of work. The World Bank, for example, has recently published a report titled The Promise and the Peril of Online Gig Work. The report outlines global opportunities and risks associated with freelance work, offering recommendations and suggestions to governments worldwide. The World Bank has generously provided us with a video summary, which we will now watch. Let's have a look.
Online gig work is opening a new horizon for jobs in developing countries. It holds significant potential for young people, women, and other vulnerable groups, but also comes with challenges. The World Bank report, Working Without Borders, The Promise and Peril of Online Gig Work, provides recommendations for countries to leverage these opportunities and mitigate risks while expanding social protections for all. Over the past decade, technology has fundamentally shifted traditional work patterns. It has brought economic opportunity and jobs to millions of people simply with access to broadband and a digital device. Online gig work is work that is performed and delivered online, independent of location. These jobs now account for as much as 12% of the global labor force, a number higher than earlier estimates. While developed countries dominate the demand for gig workers, demand from developing countries is rising at a much faster rate. For example, in sub-Saharan Africa, job postings on the largest digital platform grew by 130%, while the growth rate in North America was just 14%. A flexible workforce benefits businesses, especially small firms and startups, to remain competitive and agile in a dynamic market. This helps firms grow and create more jobs. Unsurprisingly, 3/4 of online platforms are in fact regional or local, and not global. The online gig economy can play an important role in countries that are struggling with high levels of youth unemployment or underemployment. Young people are attracted to gig work to earn income, learn new skills, or have the flexibility to combine gig work with school or another job. And because online gig work provides flexibility in time and location, it can support increased participation for women, young people, and others in the labor market. In fact, in most regions, women are participating in the online gig economy to a greater extent than they are participating in the general labor market. Online gig work can also help extend work opportunities in smaller towns and villages beyond large capital cities. In fact, 6 in 10 online gig workers live in smaller cities. But gig work is not without risks. In low-income countries, most people work outside the purview of labor regulations without access to social insurance and benefits. And for many gig workers, especially young people, there is often an unclear career pathway. A considerable wage gap also still exists. For example, on a major gig platform in Latin America, a female online gig worker's wage is only 68% that of her male counterparts. Governments and the private sector both have important roles to play in harnessing this potential while also addressing the risks. Digital platforms can help increase the visibility of informal workers. This can also support government efforts to expand social protection coverage for all. Some private companies are developing solutions to facilitate tax planning, savings, and financial access for gig workers. To support equitable, affordable broadband access, especially for disadvantaged groups like youth, women, and people in rural and hard-to-reach areas, countries can also prioritize investments to improve access to digital infrastructure, devices, and payment options. Countries can enhance social protection coverage of gig workers, partner with platforms, and experiment with new social insurance models and more modern, digitally enabled forms of collective bargaining. And governments can invest in strengthening their own capacity to collect data and monitor labor market trends in real time. With these and other initiatives, developing countries can leverage this growing part of the labor market to create more opportunities, expand economic inclusivity, and increase prosperity for their people.
I hope that recommendations from the World Bank will be heard, and that the conditions of digital freelance work will become favorable for all. Additionally, I would like to see institutions like World Bank and many others inviting freelancers representatives for consultation when providing recommendation. According to our ongoing research that I've mentioned previously, freelancers do not typically call themselves gig worker. They call themselves freelancers. With increasing prominence of freelancing and a great acceptance of remote and flexible work, a question persists. Where does freelancing fit within a broader staffing industry? Is freelancing perceived as a risk to a traditional organization that plays talent, or is it viewed as an opportunity? Today, I've honored to have Menno Bart, head of policy advocacy at Adecco Group, the largest staffing company in the world, to join us to shed light on this matter. Menno, thank you for joining us. Could you please clarify the role of freelancers in the staffing industry?
The role of freelancing in the current labor market is incredibly important. We face twin transitions, as is often called. So that's when we speak about both the digital transition, but also the green transition. So massive changes in the global economy that impact global supply chains, labor market demand, skills demand, you name it, but also the business model of many companies in the world. And that means that many companies need to become much more agile in how they organize their workforce. We've seen the same coming out of the COVID pandemic, where, again, we had a big need for more agility in the labor force. So at the Adecco Group, we always advocate that we need diverse forms of work to fit the needs both of companies as well as workers. And that's, of course, crucial, that companies have a need for access to talent in whichever way possible. But we also see that workers become increasingly vocal about how they want to work. Maybe they don't want to have that long job for life for one employer, but actually they want to work for multiple clients. They want to work remotely. They want to have the flexibility and the freedom to choose how they work. And so in that sense, freelancing is a way to fit those needs and to really help both companies and workers be more competitive in today's labor markets. I do want to stress that it's important that freelancing needs to happen in a compliant and responsible way, because freelancing can, if not done right, also serve as a way to undercut labor standards and to undercut social protection for workers. And so the role that freelancing has should not be undercut, for example, by engaging in bogus self-employment or in vulnerable self-employment. We know that there are groups of people who are not really able to live off their self-employment, their freelancing gig, who do not have a lot of freedom to set their own rates. And when that's the case, then they don't even have access to the rights that regular employment would bring. And so it's important that we make sure that freelancing is used in the way that it should, and that workers have the ability to set fair rates. As a company that provide HR services in a broad sense, this is important to us because we feel that freelancing indeed is one of the ways that we also want to use to serve our clients, find talent as they see fit. But on the other hand, we believe that using non-compliant forms of work is an unfair competition to those players who actually do want to behave responsibly and with positive social impact on the labor market. Now, there is also an important regional difference to note here, because that problem that I just described of lack of compliance and undercutting social protection is, of course, very much a Western problem, maybe even a European problem. Whereas in other countries where the largest part of the workforce might be informal, think of India or think of Nigeria or think of, well, whichever country, maybe in Latin America, that problem of informality with workers who have zero rights as is, there self-employment or freelancing can actually be a part of the solution, because then people actually become more regularized, have a better access to clients. And so there is no one-size-fits-all solution to how to deal with worker compliance and how to determine what role freelancing actually does have in the labor market. But it is important in our view that this is determined on a country-by-country basis, really taking into account the local situation.
Thank you very much, Menno, for sharing these insights. You have brought up very interesting points. I particularly appreciated your comment about how vocal we became, about how we want to work. I remember being trained that the most dreaded question at the job interview is, why did you change your job so often? I can guarantee that no one would ever consider asking this question to a freelancer these days. Right? What a change we have now. The World Bank report indicates that freelance economy is growing rapidly in some parts of the world. However, it appears that freelance economy has slowed down slightly, or not slightly, in the Western world post-COVID. I'd like to ask this question to the person who knows the answer 100%. Matt Matola, I promise he'll be with us today. Matt Matola is CEO of The Human Cloud. He's the author of this book, absolutely amazing person and the most knowledgeable individual that I know in our industry. So Matt, do you think we were perhaps a little bit overly enthusiastic about the freelance revolution taking over the world?
Hey, Lena. Awesome question. You are not the first to ask it. We've been asked this a lot for the past 6 months, and we've had to have some difficult conversations for sure for the past 10 months, I would say. And so in terms of, has the freelance economy slowed down post-COVID? And I'm going to use the last 12 months for the data. The answer is for some, yes, for some, no. So for some, and I'm going to say the ones that are doing well have been less than 10%. For some, they've seen record profits. They've seen record revenues. For others, they're hurting. And so let me start with the ones that are hurting. Actually, let me give a little bit of a preface. So we started the year and we heard from a leader, we're down $300 million this quarter, right? So I'm sure you all can relate. You've had conversations like that. Now, another thing that we've heard is companies that had more of the venture capital growth tilt, they're hurting badly. And so companies that had raised in the past 2 years and were using the typical VC playbook or the typical VC roadmap, yeah, they've not been doing well. And you're seeing a lot of companies that actually have been sold in the past 6 to 12 months. And the sell was at times more of an acqui-hire. But so that's there. That is the reality. Others, though, we've been seeing doing really, really well. The ones that we've seen doing well are the ones that understand the enterprise, the ones that have really deep relationships, and the ones that have a very, very, very strong user experience. Now, the user experience does not mean they had good tech, right? It's kind of a secret in our industry that very little people actually use the tech. It gets used internally, but seldom is the tech the driver for actual material change and spend in accounts. So the ones that we've seen do well, they have a very strong relationship with the client. The relationship looks like a program level relationship. They're not just filling recs. They're solving strategic challenges, strategic problems, and they're involved in the planning stages, not just getting recs thrown over the fence. And the reason that they're sitting in this type of position is usually because they have a layer of trust with the client being someone that's a director level and above that has, more than just this rec, but usually recs at volume, as well as influence across the company. And they are providing their services in a way that does match the agency, and in a way that does, you'll see in this presentation, in a way that gives niche expertise with a support layer so that freelancers can be hired at scale. So at a super high level, has it slowed down? It's tough to say. We'll see, to be honest. We'll probably know in January when we see reports on what 2023 revenue looks like. The buzz has not slowed down. So you'll see in the presentation, there's numbers of 90%, 85% leaders still investing and prioritizing in the freelance economy. I will say what I think was a speed bump is that there was a lot of noise with, I don't think we were structurally ready for a lot of the demand that came. So, not to put a damper on the beginning of the presentation, but the reality is yes, it for some has slowed down, for most has slowed down, but for some they've been doing better than ever.
Oh, this is very interesting perspective, Matt. Thanks a lot. A following question to that. Should freelancers be concerned about these ups and downs?
So should freelancers be concerned about this up and down? Similar question. Some should, some shouldn't. The freelancers that should be worried about this are the freelancers that are relying on transactional, gig-based type engagements. And so if you're pumping out 5 articles a week and you don't have a strong relationship with your client, I would be worried. Likewise, if you're chasing gig after gig after gig, I would be worried. Now, the ones that have a deep relationship with their clients, you're going to be just like the marketplaces, you're going to be doing better than ever. One thing I will say is that strategy versus execution, generally in times like this, the person that can have strategy and execution is favored. And so if you're there just to write articles, just to do designs, then it'll be tough as budgets freeze. But if you really, really understand the challenges of your clients at a higher strategic level, then you should be okay. I will sort of give my own personal feeling on this, and data does back this. I think the data is 55% of freelancers. I think it's like 57% would never change for a full-time job, but 55 feels safer. I will say personally, I feel much safer when freelancing, working on my own. And I know in the past 2 years, a lot of people have felt that, especially here in the US with the layoffs that we've had. So overall, just like marketplaces, it's all about having a deep, strong relationship with your client and having a relationship at a strategic level.
Ooh, this is brilliant. Matt, thanks a lot for bringing this up. And this is absolutely fantastic point to think as a business, to act as a business, to become a partner to your client, to understand how you impact your client business, be a strategic partner and not just a gig worker executing a single task, right? Fantastic. Don't miss Matt's presentation. I already mentioned it's happening tomorrow. at 3 p.m. Central European Time and 9 a.m. New York time, whatever the time zone it is. Right. I actually also asked Mary Kassé, CEO of Uncompany, exactly the same question. I asked her how she sees the future of freelancers. Let's have a look.
So how do I see the future of work for freelancers? I think for the first time, I think companies are really starting to see the value in freelancers at all skill levels and at all levels. So from junior all the way through executive level, they're seeing the value and they're including them in their staffing plans on a regular basis. And so that's going to really push freelancers to understand how to operate a business their entire career. So how do they start a freelance business? How do they grow? And then how do they scale? So basically from the very beginning, all the way through retirement, how to operate and build as a business and work as a professional all the way through the whole part of their career. And that will be really helpful for businesses who are looking to really tap into those professionals at all different points, all different phases of their skill level.
Brilliant, Mary. Thanks a lot for your comment. I totally agree with you. Thinking broadly is a skill that can greatly benefit anyone who is involved in freelance work. Whether you're just starting up or growing up your freelance business, having a broader perspective enables you to generate ideas, understand how you impact your client's business, remain relevant with your value proposition, and uncover new untapped markets and niches. The ability to see a bigger picture often comes with education. According to our ongoing research that I mentioned already many times, 90% of surveyed freelancers agree that specialized freelance business education would significantly contribute to their success. Let us know what you think about it by participating in this research. Scan your code here. Here, right? Well, cool. Well, in the meantime, while you're answering the survey, I'd like to introduce another guest in the studio, Glenn Hodgson, Secretary General of the Freelance Movement. Glenn's work is of high importance to our industry. He has launched a petition recently aimed at protecting your platform workers, including freelancers, from potentially damaging legislation that could be introduced in the nearest future. I invite you to learn more about the petition and the EU directive here and join Glenn's session on October 17th at 6 p.m. Central European Time or 12 noon Standard Eastern Time. Oh, Eastern Standard Time? Can someone help me with time zones? It's crazy. Okay. So Glenn, you're well connected with the industry. What do you think needs to be done to ensure a bright future to our economy? And wait a second, hold on. I think we're going to have a very serious discussion. Give me a second. Okay, you can go on now.
In terms of the future of work, I think there's a number of elements which need to be looked at to be able to bring this forward, facilitate it, but also ensure the best conditions possible for freelancers themselves. I think the first element within this is policy, having the right regulatory and policy environment. We're seeing things in the global space, particularly the US and the European Union with the Platform Worker Rights Directive, a very limited viewpoint, which is much more from a old style perspective of what is the labor market, more focused towards old style 9-to-5 jobs, not really taking on board the needs, wants, and wishes of freelancers who want to really work in their own specific way. They want more freedom, they want more choice, they want to be able to earn more money. They don't want a presumption of employment. They don't really push down a route whereby they're a round peg pushed into a square hole. So this needs to be something that needs to be done correctly, and particularly by actually speaking to freelancers, speaking to individuals involved in this and understanding their needs. And I think this goes to the second point, which is education. So decision makers, politicians, media, decision makers of all stripes need to really be educated about what is the future of work. It's not just ride hailing and food delivery. It's much broader than that. It's everything from lawyers, IT programmers, all the way through to financial professionals, lawyers, architects, musicians, and models. There's so many people who are in the freelancer space, so many sectors that are taking this on board, and it's individuals who are choosing this. It's their legitimate right. They're not doing it because they can't get a job. They're doing it because they want more opportunities. And also companies and organizations now are actually understanding the fact that they're getting much more out of this. They can actually sort of bring in knowledge, talent, and expertise to be able to deliver value. And I think it links to the fact that the world of work is changing as well. We're actually sort of bringing in individuals to do very specific jobs. That the corporations are changing. They're having sort of fewer full-time employed people. They much more want to bring in the expertise they need as and when they need it to be able to deliver value. And I think it's the way in which we're changing now as well is that it's not how much time you spend in an office that counts. It's the value that you can bring. And I think that even though at the current time there is this push to bring people back to the office, this is short term. Over the longer period, I think we'll see much more sort of remote work options, actually bringing in freelancers and open talent, contractors to be able to do things on their own terms as long as the delivery is done correctly. And I think it's also important within this for organizations to treat freelancers with respect and treat them as part of the company, bring them into the organization, give them visibility of what's happening, give them visibility of what the company needs to do, and also the role that they have within that. I think by integrating freelancers much more into the organization, everyone will benefit from this. The company will get much better results, and individuals themselves will have more loyalty to the organization. They will actually be an ambassador, and they'll feel much more sort of I'd say joined up and part of the organization in a completely different way. And I think the final point is that the heart of all this is education. Education I talked about for the decision makers, but also education for the companies and the individuals themselves, how they can actually use freelancers properly, and also individuals who maybe want to take the leap from being a 9-to-5 employee to actually setting something up for themselves, being a freelancer. How do they do it? What are the nuts and bolts that they need to think about from a financial perspective, from a tax perspective? How do they find clients? How do they upskill and reskill in terms of their specific knowledge? What are the platforms they need to be part of? How do they actually sort of get part of communities? To be able to find the right kind of projects where they can add the most value. And I think this is something that we need to sort of think about as an organization more and more. Certainly myself as an individual need to be able to look at as well. So it's going to be an interesting ride and really very, very skin in the game, interested to be part of this whole procedure.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Sorry, but I'm gonna take this off. I can't say anything with this one. Yeah, well, we circle back to the education topic, and I appreciate you highlighting it once more. I absolutely agree that there is still so much work to be done on the educational front for anyone who is in freelance economy, actually, not only freelancers, but platforms included, for example. I hope that Freelance Business Month can serve as a platform to educate and inspire companies to hire more freelancers, to explain how platforms should function, how freelancers can take benefit of current business opportunities, and so forth and so on. This week in particular, we'll discuss several interesting cases of companies hiring freelancers, and therefore it's a great opportunity for anyone who is thinking to engage with freelancers to attend and learn from these speakers. While we've heard from industry leaders who shared their insights and their opinions about the future of freelancing, it would be remiss if I didn't invite a freelancer to share their thought on this subject. So here's what Anastasia Dikterova, digital creator and marketer, has shared with me.
For the future of freelancing, I believe it is important to consider the fact that with all the new digital nomad visas and general remote work being much more accepted in the world, we will see the growth of location-independent freelancers and immigrant freelancers. And it's very important for us to remember, as I am also one of those location-independent and immigrant freelancers, that our mental health is as important as our skills and our expertise. So we should be working on two fronts, in my opinion. First, in these new places where we will locate ourselves now, we need to integrate properly. We need to find people that will support us, people that we will exchange our ideas with, someone we can grow with. And also, as we are entering more global market, and maybe the locations that we are going to be now living in are more competitive, or they are more advanced in certain industries and in certain types of work, we need to also keep that in mind. So we will need to work on our soft skills, on our presentation skills, on the communication skills, the way we are talking to the clients, also how we're positioning ourselves on the market, our pricing. There are so many ways where we will need to really step up and level up our whole freelance business. And for the companies that will be working with such freelancers, it is important to remember that we are foreigners, that we are probably migrants, and that we are also remote. I have been seeing with the companies I've been working with that there is still a bit of a gap between how the local and how the face-to-face workers are being treated and perceived, and how they are just generally are represented in the company, and also how the freelancers and remote workers need to be more included and supported as well.
Thank you so much, Anne. You've mentioned a very important problem of freelancer integration, whether it's in a country, whether it's in a company that is hiring freelancer in a team, the onboarding and inclusion of the freelancer in the circle where he or she is currently located is very important. And I hope with the Freelance Business Month, we can set a good example and feature cases of successful collaboration between companies, governments, and freelancers all together. As my opening speech comes to the end, I would like to fulfill my promise to introduce a special guest who has some important words to share with all of you. Please welcome Jessie. Jessie is freelancer of the future.
Hi, my name is Jessie, and I am a freelancer of the future. Dear freelancers of today, as a freelancer of the future, I bring a glimpse of what lies ahead on this exciting journey. Sharpen your skills, embrace education, adapt to evolving tech, and seek opportunities globally. I am here to help.
A very short message, but full of wisdom. Thank you, Jessie. We're looking forward to embracing the artificial intelligence in our work in any possible way. I'm pretty sure you're there to help us. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed every minute of this session. And I hope you like the guest that I brought for you today to share a little bit more of what we're planning for the entire month. Freelance Business Month has a special place in my heart. It's never easy, but always so rewarding. I love it for so many opportunities that it brings to me, to you, to everyone. I love it for connections. I love it for the inspiration, for stories and discussions that we'll be having. I am looking forward to hearing all the speakers who have prepared amazing, amazing content for all of you. So let me say cheers to the month, and I see you online. Is it just the water? Why did you put water in here? Salute.